desolate and unforgiving Carpathian mountains. The boy thought it was the best home that had ever existed in the whole wide world, especially since his father and mother had built it with their own hands when he was but a baby. His father hastened his pace. The boy fell in behind him. Seconds before they reached the porch, the front door opened and a woman stepped out. She had a large quilt in her hands and was using a stick to beat dust out of it. She paused and looked up at the sound of their footsteps. "Mother, I did it! I caught a fish!" the boy shouted. He broke into a run and overtook his father. A dazzling smile curved the woman's lips and lit her sparkling blue eyes. "You did? Oh, that's wonderful!" His father dropped the oilskin bag, scaled the shallow steps to the stoop, and lifted the woman by her waist. The stick and the quilt thudded to the porch. She gripped his shoulders and laughed wildly as he spun her around. He finally stopped and held her against him. "Hello, wife," he said softly, his gray eyes brimming with love. "Hello, husband." She lowered her head and kissed him. His arms tightened around her. The boy grimaced. He had become accustomed to these displays over the years, though he couldn't for the life of him fathom why pressing one's lips against another person's could make two people so happy. It evidently did, judging by the number of times his parents engaged in the activity. He tolerated their passionate embrace for as long as he could before releasing a loud sigh. His father reluctantly broke the kiss and slowly lifted his head. "Our son is a villain intent on stopping our lovemaking," he muttered. His mother wrinkled her nose. "I suspect you were the same at that age, love. Give it another 5 years. We will be beating females off him in droves." The boy listened to this conversation with an affronted air. "I shall never kiss a girl. They're soft and horrid." His father threw back his head and laughed. "Oh?" His mother's eyes narrowed. "Are you calling me horrid?" The boy opened and closed his mouth soundlessly. "Come here, you shall be punished for such impudent words," she said in a fake growl. She was at his side in a heartbeat and raised him high in the air. The boy squealed and squirmed as she pressed her lips repeatedly to his face and neck, blowing ticklish raspberries into his skin. "Stop! Stop, mother! Father, make her stop!" he gasped between giggles. His father grinned and shook his head. "You should know better by now, son." They had the fish and the remains of the vegetable stew from the day before for their supper. His mother helped him practice his written Latin, while his father cleaned the rest of their catch before storing the fish with the mussels in the icebox under the kitchen floor. Later that night, the boy lay in bed and listened rapturously while his father told him a story. Though he had heard it many times before, he never grew tired of listening to the tales about two races of men who could survive death itself. As he drifted off to sleep, the boy heard his mother stop in the doorway of his room. "I fear the snow will only get heavier in the weeks to come," she said quietly. "You should go down to the village soon, before the passage becomes impassable." He heard his father murmur his accord. The next morning, the boy woke to the sound of a muffled thud coming from the front of the cabin. His eyes widened. He slipped out of his bed and ran barefoot to the kitchen. His suspicion was confirmed when he saw what lay on the table. "Father, can I come with you?" he asked eagerly, his gaze switching between the two adults who stood there. His father looked up from the heavy leather sack he was packing. He was already dressed in his thick winter coat and sturdy fur-lined boots. He raised a questioning eyebrow at the woman across from him. A frown creased her brow as she finished folding a pile of animal pelts into a second bag. She turned and pinned the boy with a narrow stare. He held his breath. "I shall agree to let you accompany your father on one condition." The boy's heart sank. "What condition is that?" "That you shall learn the Bas dance upon your return." The boy groaned while his father chortled. "I am determined that at least one of the men in my life should be able to dance. Since your father is about as graceful as a duck on ice, this responsibility sadly falls to you," his mother stated. The boy hung his head and considered his options. There were not many of them. "A duck on ice?" his father muttered. "You make up for it in other ways, mon cher." The boy sighed. "I will do it." They set off shortly after on the day-long journey that would